Hey everyone, it's Kelly here with She Learns Video, and today I'm going to be sharing some behind the scenes on how I create my own YouTube videos. So if you are a creator yourself or you do any type of interview style videos, this will be super helpful so that you will know by the end of this video how to properly light your videos and really the gear and setup you're going to need in order to get wonderful video quality and audio quality for your films. Okay, so creating my own YouTube videos has been an experience, and over time I've gotten a lot better at lighting and creating quality audio for my films, and I want to share that with you today. So I'm going to be sharing some behind the scenes that I've learned from both creating my own films and then making films for other small businesses and brands, lighting interviews, and really capturing the essence of other businesses through video. And I've done that with a variety of different tools. I'm continuing to improve, continuing to work hard and get better, and I want to share that with you today. I'm happy to share my own tips and tricks. If you are new to this space, it will really help to jumpstart you and make sure that you're setting everything up to look great and sound great for your films. Okay, so the first thing you want to consider is your location. There are so many different things to consider with your location. Sometimes you're going to have the opportunity to choose your location, and if you are working with a business or a brand, sometimes you may be going in a little bit blind and not know exactly what you'll expect when you arrive on site. Some things to consider when you are deciding on a location would be a few different things. The first one is going to be lighting. So in this room itself, I actually black out a lot of the windows, and then I have created some different lighting setups in order to light myself here with a newer light that I have. And then I actually have a light back here, which is lighting the background so that that kind of pops off the screen a little bit as well and gives me some of that depth of field, and also just keeps lighting consistent and cohesive throughout my video. I will say that not every single window in this room is blacked out. So on occasion, like if the sun goes behind the clouds, you may see a little bit of a shift in the color there, but I do think I'm still providing great educational value, and it's not something that I worry too much about when I'm creating my own YouTube videos. If I was creating something for a business or a brand, I would take those additional steps to make sure that everything is going to be clean and cohesive throughout their film. So something to keep in mind there is just the room that you're in, the lighting that is already provided, and then the lighting that you start to set up. Okay, so if you know anything about filmmaking or crafting videos, and even in photography, this is what you would call a key light. So this is the main light on my face. Sometimes people will have a multi-light setup on me. So you could have a hair light back here behind me. I could have another light in here to fill shadows, but I've just got a reflector set up to kind of bounce that. And then it also helps me a little bit to soften up the audio. I am in a bigger room, so there is a little bit of an echo, and I've put down lots of rugs and I have some blankets around me in order to create more high quality audio. So that's a great segue, and we're gonna hop into talking about audio. With audio for your YouTube videos, there's a few options that you have. The first one is to have an on-camera mic. So that's what I have right now. I have a hot shoe mic. It's the Rode VideoMic Pro, and I have that set up on top of my camera, feeding directly in there so that everything's synced and cohesive. The next option is to utilize a lavalier mic. So the great thing with audio is that the closer that your source of audio is to the microphone, usually the higher quality it's going to be. For all of my interviews with businesses and brands, I make sure that I use a lavalier mic so that the audio quality is as high quality as possible. It's as clean, as crisp. And I put that right there on the lapel so that I can hear it, they can hear it clearly when it's played back, and it's nice and clean, and you really don't have to do much cleaning up in post-production. There are so many other options that you could get into. I could actually put that hot shoe mic on a C-stand and have it right above me if I wanted to. There are so many different tools when it comes to audio that you can invest in, but I would say the two when you're just getting started that you might want to look into for interviews or YouTube videos would be to have a high quality hot shoe mic on your camera that you're utilizing for audio there. And then if you want an additional backup source of audio, or if you want to make sure it's a little bit more clean and crisp, you could utilize a Tascam DR10L, which is a lavalier mic. You can put that right on the lapel of your speaker, and you're gonna get nice, clean audio that you're gonna be able to use for your films. Okay, next up we're gonna talk about the camera and your camera settings. So I am filming right now on my Canon EOS R6. You don't necessarily need to have a Canon high quality mirrorless camera. You could do some of this on your iPhone if you want to do interviews. If you are just getting started and you don't have any other options and you just want to do kind of some talking heads, talking to camera type of videos to share with your clients or your customers. If you are looking to continuously create YouTube content, there are a variety of smaller and a little bit more affordable cameras from both Canon and Sony that I would recommend, and I will link those below. The Canon M series is really great, a little bit more affordable, and allows you to record in the exact frame rate, the exact resolution size that you're going to need in order to have high quality playback on YouTube or on your website or anytime you're sharing on social media. So when you think about frame rates, I like to create all my videos in 24 frames per second. And this gives it a little bit more of a cinematic vibe. It gives it a high quality look. And I really enjoy the look of 24 frames per second when it's played back. I think it is the best for capturing interviews. Anytime you're gonna be recording audio, that's where I lean. The other option would be 30 frames per second, which if you are doing any type of television or if you're creating a commercial for someone that's going to air on television, then 30 frames per second might be a great option there. Most of the TV that you watch is going to be shot at 30 frames per second, whereas movies tend to be shot at 24. As far as the resolution size of your films, you're going to want to make sure you're capturing it in 1080p or 4K. So for me, 1080p is plenty for my YouTube channel. There are some cameras that are only going to give you an option of 720. I know the Mark III, I believe, only gives you an option of 720 if you are shooting in certain frame sizes. So definitely take a look at that. But you want to essentially have the highest quality video you can. If you're using an iPhone, those will allow you to capture up to 4K. Keep in mind, if you are shooting a lot of 4K footage, it's a really large file size, and those can kind of slow down your computer when you're editing, or if you're looking to store the footage long term, they're going to be larger files. So I usually go with 1080 depending on what I need, but if you want to go with 4K, it will give you the ability to have a higher quality image, and if you want to punch in or zoom in on your footage at all, you can do that a little bit more easily and still retain the quality of the film. All right, from there, I would encourage you to choose a lens that's going to range somewhere in the 35 to 85 range. I usually shoot my films for talking heads right around 50, as that is what kind of your eye naturally sees. I have transitioned my YouTube videos over to a 35 millimeter lens. I just like the look of this, and I think that it gives me the ability to shoot at a lower aperture, which I like kind of that depth of field that it gives in order to separate me from the background, if that makes sense. So it's all in kind of your personal preference and what you like the look of. You can definitely play around with it, but I would say for most interviews, you're pretty safe if you land right in the 50 millimeter range. And again, that depth of field is something that you'll have to consider as well in order to decide if you want the background to be, you know, in focus, or if you want to give that depth of field in order to get kind of that bokeh in the background. You could certainly stop down your aperture there. So I've actually captured a behind the scenes here so you can see everything that I am seeing right now in this room, how it's set up, how it's laid out in my studio. And then the other thing that you'll want is just a high quality tripod, high quality light stands. If you're going to be clipping up any reflectors, you want to make sure you have a stand for that. So those are a few things to keep in mind. Additionally, lots of camera batteries, plenty of SD cards that are going to allow you to record depending upon what camera you're utilizing. I do plan to make some additional investments this year as far as my lights go. So I'll certainly do an updated video when the time comes for that. But I hope this was helpful. If you're new to YouTube or you're new to talking head videos, then this should give you a really good setup and starting point for getting in there and making sure that you are prepared and ready to record those if you're working with clients or creating your own videos for YouTube, social media, or your website. If you have a YouTube channel or a social channel where you create videos, please drop it below. I would love to follow along and learn more about what you are doing and what you're creating. If you could subscribe to my channel and we can follow each other, that would be awesome. For more video information and tutorials, go over to shelearnsvideo.com, subscribe to our email newsletter, and I can't wait to see what you create.